Joshua Aaron Hart was back in the lineup and showed once again that this dude is the most valuable player on the Knicks roster, not named Jalen Brunson, in the win over the Trailblazers Sunday night. So let's talk some Knicks basketball and, of course, all Hart with Jonathan Macri of Knicks Film School. J-Mac, appreciate you throwing on the Blazers so we can talk about that win against the Trailblazers. See what I did there? All five starters scored at least 18 points. Jalen Brunson, of course, led the way with 26. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. Would you say that that was the Knicks' most complete game in weeks?
Yeah, I would for a couple of reasons. One, I think the Blazers have been playing very well, and they're a team that, and they also got Drew Holiday back, who obviously we know Drew Holiday's a good defender. They're a really good defense, and they're a physical defense too. I think we've seen the Knicks struggle with physical defenses this year, so for them to put up 123 points last night, an encouraging sign. But the reason why I think you have to consider this the most complete, if that's the term we're going to use, win in a while is how they defended down the stretch, and specifically in the fourth quarter. Jalen Brunson has been a guy who's gotten a lot of attention this year for his defense and not for good reasons. So to see him get switched on to Denny Avdia, who's the Blazers' best player, on consecutive possessions in the fourth quarter, hold his ground both times. I like again, it's a small sample size there, but that's a better sample than we've gotten from him again on the defensive end. And if the Knicks are going to do anything this year, all of their players, including Jalen Brunson, has to defend. So add it all up, and yeah, I think it's the best win they've had in a while.
One guy who has been the heart and soul of this team and this defense, Josh Hart, been out since Christmas Day when he sprained the ankle. While he was out, it looked like the Knicks completely lost their identity, especially on the defensive side of the basketball. He comes back, logged 31 minutes, 18.6 assists. Defense was there, and he hit a clutch bucket with 90 seconds left in the game. In terms of value, hear me out here, because a lot of people are going to be running their mouths in the comments. In terms of overall value, is he the second most valuable player on this team behind Jalen Brunson?
I'm going to try to not make this a cop out, although I have a feeling you may accuse me of copping out here. I think he's the second most valuable person on the Knicks because to me, that takes into account not only what he does on the floor, which is obviously very notable and very important, but it also takes into account what he means to their culture, what he means in that locker room as a guy who is always willing to be accountable, is always willing to sacrifice, and I don't think is bashful when it comes to maybe, saying the tough thing or any of those sorts of things. Um, Josh Hart, I think probably more than anybody on the team raises their floor. So again, is that how much of value is encompassed in that? Because you saw when he was out, this team, there were just certain nights that they didn't have it, and there was no one to step up and make sure, hey, we're not going to go down like this tonight. Josh Hart kind of ensures that. And it's not that they're going to win every game that he's in. It's not that he doesn't have negative qualities as a player, but when you have him there, you kind of know what you're going to get. And most of the time, far more often than not, it's going to be good.
Okay, so as a player or person, where would your confidence be in Cat right now in terms of reliability and consistency as a number two option?
I've been hard on Cat not only this year but in the playoffs last season, so I'm going to try to be overly fair here. My confidence is actually pretty high, and the reason I say that is because last night obviously Mike Brown benches him for the last of the game. I thought he played well, and I thought it was more that the lineup had it going. Mitchell Robinson had maybe his best game of the season or one of them. And against that Blazer team, you just didn't want to have two minus defenders on the floor at the same time when they kind of were picking at those scabs every opportunity they got. So, but I look, it has not been a great Cat season. Obviously, he's been frustrated at times. But I think when you look at the overall picture, there are enough positive signs for me to be hopeful moving forward, with the caveat that no, we have not seen his best and he needs to play better than he has for them to reach their ceiling.
Trade deadline right around the corner. Actually, in a couple weeks now, there was a report over the weekend that said that league sources say that Gershon Yabusele and Pacome Dadier are available before the February 5th trade deadline to potentially set the Knicks up for some minor tweaking. Mike Brown has shown that he can get the most out of his bench so far this season. So with the deadline creeping up, do you think that the Knicks are going to make any moves? And do you feel as though Cat can be on that trading block?
No for Cat, just because his salary is massive, and if anything, that would be an offseason thing. I do think that they will make a move for two reasons. Number one, I think you saw last night, for as much as we have gotten some nice production from some younger players, Tyler Kolek, Mohamed Diawara, Kevin McCullough, over the course of the last few weeks. Mike Brown only played 8 guys. I know Diawara got a few minutes, but really it was an 8-man rotation. And I would define his true circle of trust as like 7.5. And the half is Jordan Clarkson, who played 13 minutes last night. Obviously when he's feeling it, he could be a great asset, but I'm not even sure I'm willing to say that he is a no doubt about it, 15 to 20 minute a game guy in the playoffs. Leaves you again, 7.5. They're going to want to get another guy that Mike Brown could definitively rely upon. And when you are a team like the Knicks, who I think needs to get every ounce out of your roster and the money that you have allocated, when you have over $5 million dedicated to Gershon Yabusele, he hasn't produced, and then obviously Pacome Dadier, another couple of $1 million there. If you could flip that into something that can, again, give you a reliable, even if it's 15 minutes a night in the playoffs, I think they do it. The one wild card I'll just say before I go, Landry Shamet still working his way back. So I wonder if he comes back and looks good and picks up where he left off, does that change the equation a little bit? Maybe. I would still bet on them making a trade before the deadline.
All right, J-Mac, appreciate you, man, and Happy New Year. First time seeing you in the new year, my guy.
Yes, a belated Happy New Year. We are brothers in Blazers over here.
There we go.